Variables are super important in games because variables help us keep tracks of little pieces of information in our games. Here I have two pieces of information that I want to track. I want to track my score and I want to track my timing. So in order to track my score and timing, I go to the Data tab under Scripts and I make sure that I'm selecting the sprite that I want to keep track on. A lot of times with scores and timing, you're going to do that on the thing that keeps the score or timing. So the beetle keeps my score because every time that beetle, if you guys see my game here real quick, every time that beetle touches the cat, I'm going to make my score go up by 1. So how did I do that? I created a variable and I gave it the name score. You see that score showed up right here. The check mark is ticked, and then I set that score to 0 because I want my game to start out with 0. So when the green flag is clicked, I made sure that my score was set to 0. Next, I changed that variable score each time my beetle touched the color yellow, which is the color of my cat. So I say change score by 1, and then I wanted to show that variable score, meaning that it will display the value of score up here in my window on my canvas. And so the next variable that I created was timing. And so similarly, I went to make variable in the data tab under scripts, and I said timing, typed that in there, then the timing variable showed up, and then I made sure to set that timing not to 0 this time, but by 60, because I want my game to last 60 seconds. So every time it starts, I click the green flag and notice that it goes automatically to 60. And then what I have to do is create a forever loop here. So I have it wait 1 second, and then I change that timing variable by -1 because we want it to go down every second from 60 until it gets to 0. And so I said when my timing is 0, I want them to say you lose, and if I want my score variable to be 1,000, I want it to say you win. And so these variables ultimately end up tracking how my game goes through these conditionals. Um, Again, variables are super important to make games more interesting and track the pieces of information that you want. You find those under the Data tab, and you use them in your program to both set the variable and change that variable as your game goes along.